I'm sure most of you know by now, I love watching bad YouTuber apologies, and they're all horrible. I swear to God, the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's appear more emotional than the fucking YouTubers when they're apologizing. It is the goofiest shit in the world, but that has nothing on TikTok apologies. They're in a totally different dimension, a realm all of their own. It's like everyone on TikTok has been trained by tmartn when it comes to acting. Like, it literally sounds and looks like NPCs in Skyrim communicating. Like, there was a dude who got outed as like a child predator or something, and his apology, his response video was him reading off of note cards like he was in middle school class giving a presentation on like chemical bonds. And he's just sitting there, he's like, yes, I did this, but doesn't mean you can be mean to me. Flips. Please stop being mean to me. Flips. Like, it's fucking crazy. So recently, about 5 or 6 months ago, a massive TikTok star named Sienna was accused of sexually assaulting another TikTok star named Jack Wright. There were videos that came out that showed Sienna doing questionable things to Jack Wright's body while he was unconscious, and there's just a lot of evidence that led to these allegations against her. And recently, like 5 or 6 days ago, he made a video finally going over everything, and it's really sad. It is really just a very sad, awful situation. And I actually knew about this about 5 or 6 months ago because she released the worst apology video I think I've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly. I feel like I say that every time a new apology video comes out, but somehow they just keep getting worse. And I don't think anything's gonna beat Sienna May's. She took it down today, unfortunately, so the only way I'm going to be able to show it to you is when we watched it on stream, twitch.tv/moistcritical. Come stop by, put a few extra inches on your penis, put a link in the description. So I'm going to show you that and then go over it a bit further. So I do remember her because Mr. Beard made a video on her apology. We even watched the apology on stream. She's the one that did the interpretive dance. I'm young and did nothing wrong. With the sexual assault allegation. I remember her now.
I decided to take a month off of social media due to the negativity surrounding my platform. It was honestly one of the most difficult times in my life for many reasons. But through struggle, I found clarity within myself and with who
And then
I
she
want
hits
to
a
become.
Gangnam Style here in a
My purpose
minute.
in this life is
Right away, I love how she says taking a month off social media was the hardest time in her life. What a privileged life to live where that's your biggest struggle. You can't go on TikTok for a month. Fuck. What a nightmare. You'll soon notice this isn't really an apology video, it's just like a ballet recital. She doesn't really say sorry for anything at all, and she makes herself the victim in the situation. Like, I had to take a whole month off social media. I just needed to clear my head from all the negativity, which I didn't deserve.
to create. And whether that's silly TikTok dances or showing unedited photos of myself, creating and inspiring, now more than ever, I feel proud of the person that I am. Even if I can only inspire one person, I will have done what I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah, this is all very inspirational. It's motivated me to climb a mountain. But what does it have to do with anything at all? I mean, yeah, this is obviously very powerful. It's putting tears in my eyes with how motivational it is, but what does it have to do with anything? It doesn't address anything. It does nothing. This is like if the feds came up to me and they're like, hey, Charlie, we caught you on camera burning down this Toys R Us. We know you're an arsonist. We have it right here. And my response is, I just love to create. I love to inspire and show unedited photos of myself. And if I can just inspire one person, then I'll have done what I set out on this earth to do. Hit him with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance. Like, oh God, guess we got the wrong guy. He's not guilty, he just popped and locked on us.
We're all learning and growing, and more than anything, I'm beyond thankful for my family, friends, partnerships, and supporters.
I love how she
It's
shouts out her
something
sponsors
that
in the
I think a lot of
apology.
people my age can relate to. I hope this can inspire you.
Really appreciate Raid Shadow Legends through thick and thin here. Like, how can you not forgive her after this? I'm convinced she did nothing wrong. I was very inspired. Not a single apology here, making sure to let the sponsors know that she still appreciates them so they don't feel left out here. Overall, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. That is about as good as it gets, I'd say. The song she chose couldn't have been worse, I'd say. Like, the very end is, I did nothing wrong, I'm young, and she's accused of sexual assault. Like, this is probably not the song you'd want to use. Feels really off given the circumstance for why she's doing this. It's really a fucking weird choice. It almost feels like she's rubbing Jack's face in the whole situation. She makes herself the victim and then tries to spin this whole thing as a way of making herself like the hero of the story. Like, I had to take a whole month off social media, but now I'm back to inspire. Now, even beyond this horribly choreographed Broadway dance number, she released a series of videos saying the allegations were false and lies, just outright denying any of it ever happened, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. So the whole thing has been just a big, gross mess. But yeah, I mainly just wanted to show you that apology because I think it's going to be a pretty tough one for someone to beat. This was very egotistical, and it wasn't an apology. I don't know why I even keep calling it that. This was her, like, victim blaming and making the whole situation a way of trying to like become more popular from it almost. I don't know. It was just fucking stupid, and I just had to at least show you all this whole situation, and that's about it. So yeah. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I'm making this to say that I'm sorry. I was wrong. I fucked up. Last year, tmartn made an apology video where he almost kind of apologized for scamming 8-year-olds into wasting money on his shit-ass CSGO website, and I called it the worst apology video that could have ever been made, and I was wrong, because social repose has blown that shit out of the water with this new humdinger here. So this man right here who looks like Marilyn Manson's asshole is a YouTuber by the name of Social Repose, and he was dating another YouTuber named Jacqueline Glynn, and he cheated on her, and obviously she's very upset, so she made a video about the whole situation to update people, and that prompted him to make his own response to it, and it's fucking abysmal. I'm not going to make the bold claim I did last year and say it's the worst that could be ever given on this site, but damn, you're going to have a hard time topping this one. You've got your work cut out for you if you're trying to make a bad apology this year.
Yeah, I fucked up. I'm definitely going to lose some fans. I'm going to lose some friends. But there's two sides to every story. I wouldn't really call this a defense.
Yeah, you're right. This can't be a defense because there's no way you could defend yourself here. But that doesn't stop him from trying. He's out here looking like the Joker about to deliver a monologue. You want to know how I got this gonorrhea?
So I guess I would like to explain some things. All the brutal graphic details that she explained to everyone. So I'd like to give some very descriptive details of my own. Not to slander Jacqueline or anything, just to kind of, I guess, give you a deeper context.
But why? How could having a deeper understanding of the context provide any type of justification for the cheating? I doubt it was some type of heroic sacrifice where the girl you fucked had a bomb in her pussy that would destroy the city if you didn't defuse it by sticking your cock in there. It really just seems like he's doing this out of spite because Jacqueline went into such brutal detail as he described, so he kind of just did this to try and throw some shit at her that would make her look kind of bad. He actually even deleted her comment on this video. I don't know entirely what the comment said, I just saw a picture of it and I only got a little snippet, but it was her kind of disproving some of the points he's about to make. And naturally, if you're making an apology to someone, the next logical step is then to remove that comment from the person you're apologizing to really let them know that you're sorry.
I do deeply regret it.
Honestly, some pretty shitty acting from him during this arc of the anime. It sounds like some House of the Dead 2 voice acting here.
It kind of was a classic case of social media, showing the best parts of your relationship on social media, so everyone thinks everything's just peaches and roses all the time, and it's just not. It's a lie. We were happy, but there's obviously a dark side to everything, clearly.
I truly have no idea what point he was trying to make with this here. Oh, just a classic case of us showing the best parts. None of you had any ideas I was actually cheating on her behind her back. Just a classic case of one of those things, you know?
Because I did cheat on her, just like I did my ex-girlfriend, which everyone knows about because of our best friend.
I don't really see what there is to giggle about there. Oh, ha ha ha, you guys remember when I did this last time? Thanks to our best friend that blew that case wide open. Ha ha ha, classic best friend. Yeah, I betrayed a lot of people. Ha ha ha.
I met Jacqueline, and she was perfect. She was an atheist. She, I don't know, she cared so much about me and just everything that I did, and I did care about her, and I don't know, everything just made sense.
I cut a few things out here, but it really served no purpose. I don't even see why he would talk about it unless he was really trying to stretch this video past 10 minutes for ad revenue, which would be an incredibly douchebaggy thing to do, but I wouldn't put it by modern YouTube creators. What he was saying is he vowed never to have another public relationship since he cheated on his last girlfriend, but then he met Jacqueline and obviously had a public relationship. And he also talked about another promise he made a while back where he said he would never ever cheat on anyone ever again, and he was wrong. Just like my father when he said I would be 6'5" when I grew up. My dad is 6'5", my mother is 5'2", so luckily I split the fucking difference and I'm 5'6", so I'm really short for a 23-year-old man, and it really fucking sucks. Why couldn't I be 6 foot, Dad? Huh? Why couldn't I at least get close to your 6'5" towering Chad height? But anyway, I love this line from Social Repose. She was perfect. She was an atheist. What a low bar of entry to being perfect in this man's eyes. In this moment, I am euphoric because girl atheism. Yippee. Fucking, I don't know anything about these two, and I'm sure Jacqueline's a great girl for a lot more than just being an atheist. I imagine there's gotta be a lot more to somebody to make them perfect than just being a fucking atheist. But for some reason, this man cares so little about her, he couldn't think of any more good qualities other than her atheism. That's just fucking sad, really.
And she kind of took me on with the thought that she could fix me, and that, you know, there's a lot of good parts that she saw in me. And you know, I commend her for that, but at the same time, you know, everyone did warn her, and
What an ironclad defense, fucking bulletproof. Jacqueline, you knew what you were getting into. People warned you. You should have expected this from me. You knew this was going to happen. You shouldn't have been surprised. You knew I was going to put my small pee-pee into other lady buttholes. This shouldn't have come as a surprise. This is your fault. It's incredible. He kind of just blames her for this whole thing happening. You should have expected it. This was going to happen, and people told you.
unbalance in the relationship even early on, which terrified me, and I could never bring it up to her. All the way, we dated for 11 months, and I could never talk to her about it just because I was so afraid, because she got so attached to me so quickly. She was just, it's almost like she just, after month 2 or 3, she was like ready to settle down with me and ready to get a house, and it just seemed so perfect. And I was like, what are you doing? What do you...
From the comment Jacqueline left, the snippet I saw, this is the part she was disproving. Apparently this wasn't a thing that happened. It was him that brought up the idea of moving in together or some shit. It doesn't really matter either way who's right or wrong on that subject, because this point is just moot. It serves absolutely no purpose in this video. It looks like this man's skin is about to fall off of his fucking body here. He's like a reptilian shedding here. His flaky, dry skin, I think he's suffering from extreme psoriasis or something, but this man needs some moisturizer ASAP. His face just must be made out of paper mache, and it's starting to crack now.
I just would like to say that I'm sorry to anyone that looks up to me or that follows me.
Well, I'm glad you've apologized to the misguided teenagers that for some reason think you're a good role model. That's very nice of you. How about an apology to Jacqueline? At no point throughout this entire thing does he say, I am sorry for what I did, Jacqueline. I didn't hear that phrase. If you're gonna apologize, fucking apologize. Here, take some notes to any of you out there that may have fucked up and are thinking about doing a YouTube apology video. A, don't do that. And B, if you really feel so inclined, the Lord has chosen you to make this great apology video, then do these things. Actually apologize for it. Say you fucked up and you're going to work on fixing it. Tell how you're going to work on fixing it. And again, apologize for the fucking thing that happened. This man goes on a 10-minute rant about shit that doesn't matter. The next part of this he talks about is content on his channel. Why? What is the point? The video is supposed to be an apology to Jacqueline about what happened. I cut a lot out to this point, but basically he drew the conclusion that he shouldn't be in relationships, he's not good at them. He also speculates that maybe he has a sex problem and should get help, but then says he doesn't believe in getting help. So about 9 minutes of this 10-minute video are just empty, useless words. He could have bent over and just farted into the camera for 9 minutes and it would have had the same impact of the shit he talks about in here. Fucking useless.
And it's clearly I'm a careerist. I'm so deeply entrenched in social repose just as an entity that it comes first. It comes before all my love and relationships and even family to an extent. This is my life. I've chosen it, and I put my all into it.
Oh, you poor hero. All the sacrifices you made to make mediocre YouTube content. Goddamn. My hat's off to you, Social Repose. If only we Cro-Magnon understood what it meant to be in your shoes. All of the women you've had to fuck behind your girlfriend's back. Damn, we would have so much more appreciation for the art you create here. You certainly are an expert careerist by cheating on a YouTube personality that's pretty fucking big, and then taking all of this negativity to your channel, losing a lot of subs. Man, you've really got careerism figured out, Social Repose. Take notes out there, any up-and-comers. This man's got it down to a science.
I'm a little hurt that she kind of broadcasted everything. I'm not hurt that she talked about the cheating. I knew she would have to talk about that at some point, but to go into such graphic detail feels a little unnecessary. But it's out there, so.
Oh damn, now I feel bad. He's hurt that she talked about it to such an extent. I mean, there was a set amount that he was okay with and that he would have given his blessing to, but to go past that, that's a bit disrespectful, Jacqueline. You really hurt his feelings with this. I hope you understand. And honestly, he made such a convincing argument, I'm convinced he's the victim in all this. Jacqueline made it all public, and it really hurt his reputation.
Yeah, I guess I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let you guys down. I'm going to do better. I'm going to make more art and more music, and if you don't want to follow me anymore because you think I'm a shitty person, or because I'm disgusting, or because you can't stand the thought of ever watching me again because of what I did to Jacqueline, I can't make you stay, but I promise you I'll do better with my videos and my content, and I'm
Once again, just apologizing to the audience that found out, not to Jacqueline, but at least he's promising to do better with his content, so I'm looking forward to his Minecraft Let's Plays that he's going to steer towards. And yeah, just overall an absolutely atrocious apology here. I cut a lot out, but there was a big rant about the content on his channel and how he was unsatisfied with it, so at least he understood what the big issue here, which was his content starting to slip up, not the cheating. That was just secondary. It's really all about the content, but he's promising to do better content, so yeah, that's about it. This guy seems like a big douchebag to me. So yeah. Well, I never thought this day would come. A YouTuber just made an apology video worse than Sienna May's iconic interpretive dance. For those that don't remember, Sienna May was a TikToker accused of sexual assault, and for some reason she marched into the mines of Mordor and hatched the most diabolical plan of all time, forged the worst video apology ever, where it was an interpretive dance apology. So she starts fucking boogieing out there, doing some of this, a little bit of these, and by God, I'm ashamed to say it, but she even did some of this. Just kind of downplaying the entire situation, and keep in mind, it was sexual assault accusations that also had a video as well. So there was a ton of evidence, and she still just tried to do like an apology interpretive dance. I did not think there would ever come a time that someone makes a worse response than that, but hooey, how wrong I was.
Since you saw my face. I haven't been doing so great, so I took a little break. So a lot of people are saying some things about me that aren't quite true. Doesn't matter if it's true though, just as long as it's entertaining to you.
That bleeding in your ears is normal. This is a ukulele apology video. She's turned her accusations and her response into a Disney musical number here, I suppose. She's got a whole little Broadway moment here to sing and talk about it. Now, before getting into it, let me give some context on what she's apologizing for. Colleen Ballinger is most known for her Miranda Sings character. If you've been on YouTube for a long time, you've definitely heard that name before. She was a massive superstar on the platform. She even had her own Netflix show. And recently, another YouTuber named Adam McIntyre has really started to spearhead this information about her past and everything that's happened to them, as well as the group chat that she used to have with a lot of her fans that were minors, and the way she conducted herself. She's been accused of like asking for ass pics from her fans, and again, most of these fans were minors at the time. She'd even send really weird videos to them. It's just, there's been a ton of evidence of very unacceptable shit, so she's been accused of, like, grooming as well as being a predator, and this video that she made is her response to those very serious allegations.
All aboard the toxic gossip train. You're chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station.
Nah, she's giving us a one-way ticket to defecation station, because this is some shit here. I don't know how she thought this was a good idea at all. She doesn't even disprove any of the allegations, she just calls it the toxic gossip train, like it's some kind of little musical number out of Magic School Bus or something that she's not taking seriously. In the face of very serious claims, she decides to put on the entire clown outfit and grab her trusty ukulele and go to battle. But it's not really a battle because she doesn't even really tackle any of the claims. She doesn't refute anything or defend herself. She just makes a song.
Toxic gossip train. Tie me to the tracks and harass me for my past. Cause rumors look like facts. If you don't mind the gaps, I won't survive in the crash. But hey, at least you're having fun.
I'm sorry to keep pausing this so frequently, I just have so much to say, and trust me, I'm really doing you a favor with all of these breaks here to give you a brief, like, respite from the fucking unbelievable cringe. Like, this is some pure, undiluted, unhinged delusion here. This is so strong, I feel like it needs to be added to the periodic table, like the element of delusion that she is displaying here. Like, this song is fucking haunted, honestly. This is like that track out of Courage the Cowardly Dog with Velvet Vic, where, like, sucks you into the record player. That's this song, but it sucks you into a group chat where she's, like, asking about your first period and asking for ass pics or something. But the reason I'm pausing it here is because this is something she falls back on a lot in the song, and I don't want to just keep playing too much of the song. She seems to think that a lot of people are taking pleasure in watching all of this and says, like, oh, it's all untrue, but you're just doing it because it's entertaining and you're having fun. I've never fully understood that perspective because I imagine most people don't have fun learning that people they grew up watching or people they were at least aware of being a big influence turned out to be absolute fucking scumbags. Groomers, predators, all these horrible things. Like, no one has fun with accusations like that, I don't think. Certainly not the victims of it. The victims of Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger here, definitely aren't having any fun here. This has been mentally damaging shit that they've carried for a long time. Now, I do think there is an argument to be made about, like, YouTuber apologies as entertainment. I made a whole fucking tier list on it. There is an element of fun to watching a completely disconnected from reality weirdo do something like Miranda Sings has done with this fucking singing apology. It's hard not to point and laugh at the absolute insanity of that situation. But in those cases, no one's laughing about the actual allegations. Nobody wants someone in a position of power like Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger, to turn out to be a groomer or a predator.
Hi everyone. I've been wanting to come online and talk to you about a few things. Even though my team has strongly advised me to not say what I want to say, I recently realized that they never said that I couldn't sing what I want to say. So.
Holy shit, she's done it. She's activating 100% of her brain. What an incredible loophole. Checkmate, lawyers. Her legal team must have been there like, no! She got us. How did we not think of that? We never said she couldn't sing it. Damn, she's good.
Many years ago, I used to message my fans, but not in a creepy way like a lot of you are trying to suggest. It was more of a loser kind of way, where I was just trying to be besties with everybody. There were times in the DMs when I would overshare details of my life, which was really weird of me. I haven't done that for years, you see, because I changed my behavior and I took accountability. Let's go on the toxic gossip train.
If you have anything to refute the claims, why don't you present it instead of doing your little talent show ukulele act? She's saying that this video, in the beginning of the song, she's saying that she's only going to be talking about the facts. and then provides nothing. The facts must have been out of town during the filming of this because she does not present them at all. She doesn't provide anything to refute any of the claims. All she does is say like, no, that's all wrong. Those aren't the facts. You guys are falling for the toxic gossip train. Misinformation super duper station. Whatever. Like, she doesn't actually provide any evidence, any counterpoints, nothing. All she does is just say that it's a lie. That's it. And I guess you're supposed to take her at her word because she's singing it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is just invalidating to all of her victims. Like, she is like actually like laughing in their face with this video, I feel. It's pretty disgusting, actually. I don't understand how she thought this could possibly be perceived in any meaningful, positive way. Because again, she doesn't defend herself. She doesn't refute any of the claims of all of like the grooming accusations. If she thinks that all of this is overblown or incorrect, why wouldn't she come forward with her evidence to support that and say like, nope, this is where all of this is wrong. This is where it's false. This is where you've been lied to and manipulated. She doesn't do that. All she has here is this dumb little fucking song. I just can't even wrap my head around the thought process.
In all seriousness, I do think it's really important to hold people accountable for their mistakes. We should hope that everyone can learn from their mistakes and grow and change their behavior and be a better person. And this is something that I've always tried to do when I make mistakes, and it's something that I will continue to try to do. What? Oh, you don't care? Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to take accountability, but that's not the point of your mob mentality, is it? No. Your goal is to ruin the life of the person you despise while you dramatize your lies and monetize their demise.
Once again, this is just like shitting on the victims that have come forward. There are tons and tons of messages as well as videos, like just an overwhelming amount of evidence that's all pretty damning on Colleen Ballinger's behavior from these group chats, as well as just a lot of other things over the years. And in the song, she just reduces that to, it was just a weird loser sending cringe. It was just a goofball doing loser weird stuff. And then still has the audacity to sing about how she's taking accountability? What the fuck? That's the opposite of accountability. You're minimizing, downplaying the very real harm you caused to your underage fans through these group chats, these interactions, and all the shit that you said and sent. That's not taking accountability. You are literally doing the exact opposite by saying, like, it's really not that big of a deal, it's just kind of weird, that's all. And then she goes in to just say about, like, this is just directly shitting on the victims. She goes then into the next part saying that the reason there's a mob mentality is because they're coming forward with all of these lies to monetize her demise because they don't like her. Well, Colleen Ballinger, let's supersize the McDonald's fries here. You're fucking insane. What are you talking about? How could you even, like, actually put this out there? I don't know how she could not only write this song, perform this song, and this is definitely not her first take, so go through this song multiple times, edit it, and then post this without realizing just how... I don't even know the right word. It's like almost downright evil she comes across. Because again, this is like spitting in the face of all the victims that have come forward with a ton of evidence against her, saying it's not a big deal, they're wrong, they're just doing it for clout. It's so sickening.
Yeah. I feel like I can already hear the comments on this video. She's gaslighting, manipulating. Oh, she's a narcissist and a rat. I would never make a mistake like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that all of you are perfect, so please criticize me. Bring out the daggers made from your perfect past and stab me repeatedly in my bony little back.
This is gonna come as a surprise, this is gonna be shocking. But yeah, most people aren't making mistakes like this. This isn't one of those like whoops-a-daisy mistakes that everyone makes in their life. Most normal people are going to go through their life without ever doing anything close to what you're accused of doing. Talking sexually with minors in a group chat, sending used underwear to kids. The list goes on, and she beats this point home about like how she's just made like a little mistake here and it doesn't make her a bad person. But this is, again, one of those mistakes that like actually does make you a bad person. This isn't like a little mistake. Like, she makes it sound like, oh, you don't have the right to criticize me because you're not perfect, your past isn't perfect. But most people's past isn't exactly one that's plagued by degeneracy like this. So, no one's perfect, of course, but that doesn't mean that people don't have the right to criticize you for just how ridiculously awful the shit that you are accused of doing is, and also how terrible this response is.
I'm sure you're disappointed in my shitty little song. I know you wanted me to say that I was 100% in the wrong. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna take that route of admitting to lies and rumors that you made up for clout.
Once again, just hawking a big fat loogie in the face of every victim that came forward here. If these are all lies and just rumors, why don't you prove your side of it? Why don't you provide any evidence beyond just a song that says things without showing things or proving things? There is nothing presented here that refutes a single claim at all. She's just singing things. And that's it. That's not evidence. The video and song goes on for like another 4 or 5 minutes, but she just keeps saying the same thing about how it's all lies and manipulation, but she doesn't prove any of that. Why wouldn't you want to like actually clear your name? I don't know what she thought this song would do. It doesn't offer any kind of explanation for anything to clear up what she's calling lies and rumors. It's nothing. There is mountains of like actual messages and videos of her engaging in very, very bad behavior, very awful things, which has led to people labeling her things like a groomer and a predator, which she really doesn't like. But that's what all of these documents lead towards, point towards. And she does nothing to refute any of it, except make this absolutely embarrassing song out of it. It's baffling. I couldn't believe this shit today. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to play the rest of the video because she just keeps saying, it's all lies, it's just rumors, it's ridiculous, I can't believe you guys fell for it. But doesn't provide any kind of actual counterpoints or evidence or anything, so it's fucking useless. This is, I do think, the new worst YouTuber apology video, and that's not an easy feat to have accomplished, so that's wild. That's really about it. So yeah. Right now, there's a Twitch streamer getting tomatoes thrown at him all across Twitter for a clip that's going viral of him having an embarrassing and horrible response to one of his community members answering a question that he asked them.
In Spanish, and it's chef's kiss. All right. Curvy, where the fuck have you been? Oh my God. Well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to talk about it in my chat because it's Friday. And that is a whole big bucket of bummer.
And his response is a big barrel of butt cheeks. So to give context to this situation here on the lore, this was a regular viewer of this streamer, an avid supporter who had taken a bit of a hiatus and was unfortunately going through a very hard time with her mother passing. So when he saw that she was back, he asked her, "Oh, where have you been?" To which she just answered honestly, her mother had passed away, so, you know, it was a bit of a tough time. That's why she was taking a break. And then for some reason, this must have input a cheat code into the streamer's brain that just sent him into, like, debate club. He, for some reason, then just goes into, like, this TED Talk about how you shouldn't answer his question if your answer is something sad, because it brings down the vibes of the stream. It's baffling, because you had asked her, and she just answered your question honestly. I'll play a bit more of the clip before getting into it, but I want to make it clear early on that I understand a lot of streamers have a similar perspective where you don't really want someone in chat that's just talking about like a really traumatic experience they're going through, because it's not really the place for it and the streamer's not the therapist. Like, I do get that perspective, but there's a difference between like just a random person treating Twitch chat like it's their psychiatrist and you asking someone a question and them answering honestly, especially when it's a member of the community that you already kind of know to a certain level. I don't understand why you're all of a sudden getting mad at them for answering that.
And I'm sorry for your loss, but we're not doing that in my fucking chat. Thank you. Well, okay, Miss Dirty Curvy, you said, no, that's fine. You asked, so I told. No, I didn't ask you to tell me the biggest fucking bummer news in the world. I said, hey, what's up? How are you? You know what? Let me give you a little bit of a lesson, Miss Nerdy Curvy. When something really, really bad is going on in your life, and in a public forum, someone asks you, hey, what's up? How are you? There are two acceptable responses. Good, and you know what? I'll make it through. That's it.
So you want to just talk to NPCs that only have 2 dialogue options. Okay? Then why bother trying to communicate with a human being? Like, okay, give them a script. Make sure your community has the acceptable answer script to my stupid questions. I don't actually care where you've been. Like, just tell me one of these 2 canned responses. Like, this is so fucking dumb. And I also love the audacity let me give you a lesson here on how to handle my questions going forward. It's just so laughable that he's acting like some kind of social savant here about how to handle public conversations and what you're allowed to say. You're a fucking Twitch streamer, man. All of us as streamers are not exactly the most socially gifted. Like, let's just face the facts here. So why are you trying to act like the authority on the matter here, as if you're some kind of social guru who's now giving a lecture to your community about what is and is not allowed in a public conversation? It's fucking goofy. It's very silly.
How are you? Good? Or, you know what? I'll make it through. Awesome. Love to hear it. See, there you go. Or Prom's response. Yeah, I said, Prom, how are you doing? She says, I'm alive.
You know what's just as easy as those two responses is you being able to respond with some level of empathy like, oh man, that's terrible, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, damn, that's awful news, stay strong. Or, man, shit, that's terrible, hopefully today's stream can lift your spirits a bit. Like, you also have equally easy responses to, like, instead of dwell on the negative here and for some reason try and shame her for answering your question honestly, you could have just as easily had a very simple and empathetic response to it and moved on from it. But instead, now you're putting all of it on her and blaming her for bringing down the entire atmosphere, as if she somehow forced you to enter your goofo mode here, your insano style tantrum that you're throwing. Like, it is your fault. You could have either not asked the question if you didn't want, like, real answers, or you could have had some level of empathy and just given, like, a general, decent response like, damn, awful news, sorry to hear that, stay strong. And then just go about, like, a good vibe stream. Like, it's super easy.
Oh, I asked you where you were. Look, Mr. Curvy, I'm just subtly trying to tell you that unloading really heavy news in people's chats on Twitch is not like good etiquette. It's not the place to do it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Heavy news like that, when someone asks, hey, where have you been? You don't need to tell them, well, my dog died, my husband left me for a younger woman, my house burnt down, and my car got stolen. So I've been a little bit busy. That's why I haven't been around. Because it's like, oh, God, like, ugh.
Oh, God, your bad news is making my easy job just a little stressful, because now I've heard your fucking bad news, like, ugh. Like, can you have some level of shame? Can you stop having bad things happen to you and then share it with me when I ask? Like, fuck. God, where do you get off? What a stupid perspective, bro. What are you talking about? That's not even what they did. You asked them a question and they gave a simple response to it. Now, for a little further context, she, in her first response, accidentally led with, like, a laughing emotion. So she led with, like, LMAO because she was responding to, like, a joke he had told and then answered his question about her mom passing away. She got a little concerned that it was going to be misconstrued like she was joking about that. So then she clarified again that, no, like, it's just been a rough time. It's just been horrible. So she said it, like, twice or 3 times in total, but it was never to dwell on it or try and treat him like a therapist or treat chat like it was a self-help subreddit or something. She just answered his question but didn't like her first answer because she thought it might get misconstrued, so then just said, like, no, it's just been bad, and that's where it was. She didn't try and, like, keep pressing it further or anything. For some reason, he did. He took it and ran with it and made it an overwhelmingly negative thing and then shamed her publicly in front of the entire community for it, which is so fucking weird and terrible thing to do. Now, like I said in the very beginning, I do understand the perspective of not wanting your community to treat it like it's like a therapy session where they're dropping really heavy things going on in their personal lives into the Twitch chat or asking you to solve the problems for them. I do agree that that is just not the time nor the place, and that's not going to help the person either. That's not going to help them or anyone else around you that needs, like, professional help and someone to actually be there and qualified to give real helpful advice to that person that's struggling. And Twitch chat is the last place you'd want to go for anything real. So I do agree, like, that is never a good case, like, that's never a good situation to be in, but that's not the situation this streamer was in. He had asked a community member that he knew a question, and it was a personal question. Where have you been? Now I'm waiting for your answer. And they explained, well, it's just been a bad time because her mom had passed away. And that's it. She didn't, like, keep going forward about it, like, to try and, like, make it all about what she's going through. She just answered his question point blank. And for some reason, he went off the rails about it.
Like, you know, like, if if someone asks, like, hey, what's up? Where have you been? And it's heavy, just be like, I had a bunch of shit going on, so I've been lying low for a little while. Got it. That's it. I'm not trying to rip you a new ass.
Yeah, not trying to rip you a new ass, just trying to embarrass you in front of the entire stream. The lack of self-awareness here. Buddy, that is kind of exactly what she did, but instead of just saying, I've got some shit that I'm going through, so I was lying low, she said, well, family member passed away, so I was lying low. That's it. She didn't continue to, like, go through the nitty-gritty on everything that happened. She did almost exactly what you said, but was a little more specific on exactly what that shit was. But in essence, it's the same thing. Would you have still melted down if she had said, I had a lot of bad, horrible things happen, so I was laying low for a bit? I don't think so. You probably would have just given a normal, like, decent human response like, man, sorry to hear that. Hope that shit clears up soon. Why couldn't you have had that same level-headed, rational response to her just being a bit more specific with what that horrible thing she was going through was? She didn't just dump everything on you and expect you to you know, like, coddle her or do something special. Like, she just answered your question. So this is where the viral clip ends, but he did have a response to this, and it's really worse than you're probably imagining. But before getting to his response, I want to hit you with a bucket of cold water to shock you with some statistics here. 93% of all Twitch streamers pull less than 5 viewers, so anything more than 5 immediately puts you in the top 6.7% of the site. These are old numbers too. These are from 2021, so I imagine this has only grown. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because the streamer who right now is catching more tomatoes than the goddamn Heinz ketchup factory is not a huge streamer. At least not by most people on Twitter's definition of a big streamer. He has around 55 average viewers, and to put that in perspective, that does put him in the top 1% of Twitch, at least based on the numbers I'm seeing. Because again, the vast majority of streamers are streaming to actually 0 people. Crickets. You have better luck getting your old high school classmates to watch your Facebook live stream than you do getting found on Twitch and starting a community from nothing. So everyone that's just writing him off as a nobody and fuck small streamers, who cares what they are saying or what their opinion is, I hate that perspective, and I will always hate that perspective. The mentality around numbers is so, like, fucked up these days that they can't recognize how big of a number 55 average viewers is. Like, yes, it's not the biggest streamers on Twitch, but that's still a pretty large number when put in perspective with how big the market is and how saturated it is. But this ties into the bigger point I want to make on the back of those numbers. The market being as saturated as it is, carving out a community being as tough as it is, the last thing you want to do is fuck it up. Which is exactly what this guy has just done. He's currently streaming right now with like 140 viewers, which is more than he normally averages, but I imagine the majority of this is hate watchers hoping to just shit on him in the chat. And I've already seen it from a couple of his subs. Some people were saying how disappointed they were in him. And that's a really big deal, because when you have a really tight-knit community, once the viewers start feeling like you don't actually give a fuck about them at all, or that you're kind of a piece of shit, they probably won't stick around because there's so many other streamers that they'll just go to. So this will potentially end up being a huge problem for him. His first response was this on Twitter, where he's just taking full responsibility for being an asshole, which I guess is fine. Like, he's just saying, yeah, this was a real piece of shit here. But then 12 hours later, he made an apology video and doubled down on everything from his initial Twitter clip.
Firstly, it is well known in my channel that I do not tolerate heavy news, drama, or trauma dumping, if you will, being entered or dropped into the chat. This has been discussed and explained and made clear many times while I've been live over the last 4+ years that I've been on Twitch. The people that come to my channel often, they know this. They see it all the time. So that's something that I want to make sure everyone understands.
He directly blames her for violating his terms of service for being a chatter, basically, saying, I have very strict rules, you're not allowed to kill vibes with bad news or anything drama-related or heavy. Okay, then don't ask questions that could potentially lead to, like, someone being honest with you, man. Not everything in the world is going to be sunshine and rainbows. So why ask a question to your viewers that they might just be open about if you don't want to actually hear it? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and why are you blaming her? You're fucking blaming the victim here in this situation. What a terrible look. When you had already in your previous tweet sang a very different tune, where you're like, yeah, this one's kind of on me. I was a douchebag. What changed? All of a sudden now, you woke up this morning and you feel like you're not a douchebag, you're a superhero. In fact, she's the villain because she didn't follow your strict chat rules.
This is not the first time that she's violated the expectation that people not share heavy news in my channel. The frustration from having her argue in chat that she was, quote, just answering my question, even though she's been spoken to about this type of thing before.
Calling this an apology is a disservice to apologies. He is literally just justifying his reaction and saying it's all her fault. She violated our expectation of her in chat and then said she has a history of doing it. And in her statement, one of her twitlongers, she clarifies a bit deeper on what he's talking about. And he's pretty misleading with the way he portrays what happened here. Again, you asked her a question, she answered it. So the quote, I was just answering your question, is very accurate because that is all she was doing, man.
Frowned upon. Dude, I'm getting follows right now. From Joe JCKS. Bro Chacho, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the follow. Yeah.
He even acknowledges that maybe he should edit that out and then decides not to. You should have edited that out. That's what a big yikes moment there. In your fucking apology, not an apology, in your blaming, pointing the finger video, you get a follower, take a moment to say thanks for the follow and like just call out the follower during this? What a bad look. How could you not recognize that as a potential problem? But regardless, the actual video he has made here is not a good response. It is somehow even worse than the initial one with the doubling down and trying to justify it. Like, just have an obvious common sense level-headed response like, yep, I overreacted, this was stupid, I shouldn't have done that, I don't even know what I was thinking, I must have just been in a bad mood. Like it was just so easy to move on from this, but instead you doubled down and now you look real silly for it. That's about it. So, yeah. It just wouldn't feel right if 2023 didn't conclude with at least one more horrible YouTuber apology video, and luckily, Krampus did not let us down, delivering a nice lump of coal under the tree. This had been a year filled to the brim, the cup runneth over, on bad YouTuber apology videos. I was a naive fool to think that we had seen the last of apology videos for 2023, and how wrong was I? In the fourth quarter here, the last week or so of 2023, we were blessed with one more from James Somerton. He was featured prominently in H-Bomber-Guy's newest video on plagiarism. I'm sure all of you have seen this video by now. If you haven't, that is shocking to hear and should probably go check it out. And I'm not going to recap the whole video, but I will give you a brief synopsis of James Somerton's role in it. But basically, James Somerton was pretty much caught with his hand in the cookie jar, plagiarizing his entire online content, fundamentally. It also goes even deeper than the plagiarism. He was accused of multiple other bad things in regards to his content and claims he was making and a bunch of other variety of things. And in response to that, James went dark. He went off the grid, bought a log cabin in the middle of the woods, grew out a lumberjack's beard, he bought a Hoover from, Breaking Bad, and he disappeared. So he went offline, and then a couple days ago posted a surprise apology video going over all of it, which he deleted a couple hours later when it didn't get the response he was expecting it to. But it's been re-uploaded, and I kind of wanted to cover it a little bit just because it feels right. 2023 had so many of these. We've got to usher in 2024 the right way with an apology video to kick us off getting into the new year. So let's take a peek.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry for taking so long to make this video or to say anything. I'm in the hospital. I've been in the hospital for a little over a week.
Call me John Madden because I'm going to walk you through the play in this playbook here. It's called Emotional Manipulation. It's a timeless classic. There is no reason he should be starting this video with this story here. He uses this technique multiple times throughout the video and doesn't really even address the accusations head on. It's mainly a lot of deflection. But what I want to focus on is just how hard he leans on trying to garner sympathy through this. Now, it's always sad to see someone struggling and going through a hard time and contemplating extremely terrible things with their life, but it's not something that you need to be sharing online in this capacity, and it's also not something most people would be comfortable sharing online, especially in response to things like this, because it comes across as very insincere and disingenuous and kind of like using it as though it makes you immune to criticism because now you've gone through this, if that makes sense. And that's pretty much what his whole audience said too. Even the ones that were trying to rally behind him, hoping for a real explanation, this left a very bad taste in their mouth because it's completely unrelated to what should be being talked about, which is his plagiarism as well as the other things he's been accused of. He doesn't need to be sharing this information with us. This is a very private matter that he should have kept private.
I tried to do something really stupid. I'm really only here now because before I did it, I called my dad to talk to him one more time, and he figured out something was wrong and called paramedics or 911 or...
Once again, there is no reason to be telling this extremely personal story to your audience when this is supposed to be a video addressing all of the accusations against your content. It's just the only reason this is here is so that way people can sympathize with him and feel sorry for what he's been going through. And make no mistake, from what he describes here, it's an extremely horrible experience that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. But it has no place in this video. It just comes across as super fucking tone deaf here. Just talk about, if you want to make an apology video or explain your side of things, then do that. And don't go into the private side of what's been happening behind the scenes since the accusations came out.
They got here, and I woke up in the hospital, and yeah, anyway, I'm not trying to make this a sob story. I'm just trying to explain why I've been so quiet.
You spent the entire first minute and a half making it a sob story, though. That's not an accident, and you could have edited that out. It's here because you wanted it to be here, to start with immediately trying to get the waterworks going with people crying over how awful this experience is before you get into what's supposed to be your side and your apology over everything. It's just textbook emotional manipulation trying to make everyone feel bad for you, even though you were the guilty party who got caught, and this is you trying to talk about that, and you still haven't yet, even though we're already kind of deep into the video. Now, it is a 34-minute video, so a minute and a half isn't like the bulk of it, but he sprinkles this throughout the entire thing, so you can't really make a good argument that it's only here to try and explain why he took so long to make this video. A, you don't need to explain why you took so long. You really don't. If you really wanted to give an explanation, you could just make it super concise, like, hey, had stuff going on. Or this has been an extremely stressful period of time in my life from all of this, so I've taken some time to process everything, and now I feel comfortable going forward. Like, you didn't need to dive into it like this, and you didn't even need to explain why it took you that long in the first place. And on top of that, he does also still go over these really sad things in his life throughout the whole thing that aren't just there to explain why it took him so long to talk about all of this. So it really does feel like he's trying to emotionally manipulate people with his apology video. But even when he is done going through this story and actually trying to talk about what's been going on, he takes really no responsibility. He does say, "I'm sorry," a lot, but it feels kind of hollow when he starts throwing somebody else under the bus for things and then kind of belittling the whole situation itself, boiling it down to something far simpler than it is. Like, there were a lot of accusations against him, none of which he really defends himself on in any meaningful way whatsoever. It really feels like the main purpose of the video is to make the audience feel bad. Like, make them, like, blame them, basically, for what he's going through, as opposed to taking that responsibility for fucking up with plagiarizing his whole career.
really, really sorry. Really, really sorry. For the stuff in the videos, not crediting people, and I lost my best friend because of this. Nick and I had been best friends since...
I don't think I really need to show you more of the video itself. You get the idea of exactly how this goes for the rest of the 30 minutes of it. It's just a really baffling decision to post this in the first place, and it's something he recognized pretty quickly when he saw the responses coming in, the Yelp reviews. So here's his community post addressing it. Earlier tonight I uploaded a video apologizing for what I've done, but it's become clear after hearing from several people that I am not in a healthy frame of mind to be posting anything online. I only returned home from the hospital yesterday, so I should have never filmed it. I've deleted the video, but I'm sure it has been downloaded and will be shared by others online. I promise to apologize properly and in detail when I'm more mentally stable. Until then, please know that I am sorry. He understands that this wasn't a good idea, but insists that he is sorry and will return at a later date to make a better apology video. And I have to say, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Like, I don't understand why he's even going to bother trying. There is really nothing that's going to improve for his online career through an apology. His audience isn't going to stick around through it. They were there for his content, and his content was stolen. It was all plagiarized. Like, there's no reason for them to stay, and it's not something he can just move on for and keep pumping out bangers, because no one's going to believe that it's original work or anything that he himself created. So there's nothing he can possibly gain from even making an apology. He should just do something else that's not being a YouTuber, or find a completely different niche on YouTube to try and make it big in. Like, there's just nothing he can really do for the James Somerton brand here. So I don't know why he's going to try and make another apology video later. It just seems kind of silly to even bother. Like, he doesn't have anything that proves him innocent from the claims. He really was kind of, caught pants around the ankle here. It's kind of kaput. Like, it is clear he plagiarized a lot of things, and there's a lot of other accusations on top of that as well from the way he conducted himself and some of the content, like in some of the things he said. And there's really not a whole lot he can do to come back from that and make this big triumphant comeback with an absolute fucking banger apology. That's just not going to happen. So why even do it? Just go do something else, man. Just move on from it. So yeah, I just wanted to cover this a little bit, just because it's one more bad apology in 2023. I figured might as well complete the year the only way we know how, with bad YouTuber apologies. Yeehaw. That's about it. So yeah. Have you heard the stories of the P. Diddy Defense Force? I imagine not. These bugs crawl around the deepest, darkest corners of Twitter, constantly trying to fight for the honor of Puff Daddy. These rotten scoundrels aren't paid for their services by P. Diddy to fight his PR battle for him or anything. The only thing they get paid in is a couple of updates from other inmates of Arkham Asylum that join them on this crusade. The Puff Daddy Patriots have been in full force red alert because a lot of new evidence has come out about just how evil P. Diddy is and has been for years in the music industry. There's overwhelming evidence that has existed for a long time, as well as brand new discoveries that have really painted a picture of just how fucked up P. Diddy is and has always been. And the Puff Patriots have been trying to deny all of it for him. A lot of them just kind of default to like, oh no, women are lying manipulators, so these bunch of whores are trying to get an innocent man in trouble. And they're not a large number of people that do this, mind you, but having anyone that defends P. Diddy is incomprehensible to me. And now this group of goobers is swallowing a tough pill here because a video came out that not even they can defend. It's surveillance camera footage from 2016 in a hotel where P. Diddy chases down and then beats his ex, Cassie. Obviously, I can't show this video, but it is brutal. It is a disgusting thing to witness. And there is no trick photography here. That's not a deep-faked AI or anything like that. It is footage of P. Diddy mercilessly beating his then-girlfriend, which corroborates the abuse allegations that have been made against Diddy for a long time now. P. Diddy also came forward and issued an apology video today. He actually sat down and did a fucking YouTuber apology for this. Let's go ahead and take a peek.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
He hits rock bottom, he hits women, he hits crack pipes. There's nothing this guy won't hit. The way he immediately starts this apology video is so fucking phony baloney. It's so difficult to reflect on the dark times, but I've got the strength to do that because I'm built different, so I'm going to reflect on the most painful moments of my life. When it comes to strength, I'm like a Super Saiyan being able to sit down and talk about this. Like, and then he goes on about how, like, it's inexcusable, he's not gonna make any excuses. Brother, your whole fucking career is built around making excuses for your abusive behavior and all the really fucked up shit you've done. And you are still constantly doing that. Even if it's not you directly making the excuses, you hire your fucking team of lawyers to do it for you to keep yourself out of jail. This is a guy that should have been locked up for life a long time ago.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now.
Turn yourself in then. You take full responsibility for it, you're that disgusted, walk to the nearest police station and turn yourself over. Although I'm not even sure if the police department would do anything about it, they issued this statement once the video started to go viral. They said, "We are aware of the video that has been circulating online allegedly depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman in Los Angeles. I've said this before and millions of people have said it millions of times before me. But the word allegedly does so much heavy lifting in this day and age, it's fucking crazy. Like, I know why they use it in the legal sense, but like, we all just watched P. Diddy beat Cassie. And he himself came forward to confirm that it was him beating Cassie. And they still use the word allegedly. That is like actual Looney Tunes level cartoonish dog shit there. You can just drop that word. The video has been circulating online depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman. Like, there's no gray area here. He has confirmed it. Everyone can see it in the video, but whatever. We find the images extremely disturbing and difficult to watch, and the office added that it would not be able to take action against Combs. If the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where a crime of assault can be prosecuted. As of today, law enforcement has not presented a case related to the attack depicted in the video against Mr. Combs, but we encourage anyone who has been a victim or witness to a crime to report it to law enforcement or reach out to our office for support from our Bureau of Victim Services. Gotta tell you, sports fans, that bureau doesn't sound like it's doing a whole lot of service to the victims if it's going to say like, oh no, your assault, that took place way too long ago. Our hands are tied. We're not doing anything about that. Move on. Like, that's not exactly the best service to victims. How is someone going to come forward and be like, look, I got beat by my ex in this hotel, and it was a traumatic experience that I've been quiet about for so long out of fear for my life. Is there something we can do about it? And they just say, nope. Now, this isn't Cassie that's approaching them, by the way. Like, this video wasn't released by Cassie or her team, at least not from what I've been able to tell. I get the statute of limitations. Like, I do understand that in certain contexts, but when it comes to, like, assaults, like brutally beating women and just all kinds of things, like violent crimes, I would imagine there shouldn't really be an expiratory period there, like it's a fucking loaf of bread, like a Best Buy date that you have to act within this window or else that's the end of it. Now it's kaput. He just gets away with it. I think it's super fucking stupid.
I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab.
Oh boy, I'm starting to tear up now. Yeah, this is some heavy stuff here, P. Diddy. This is tough. Yeah, would you like a side of French fries with that? Like, what the fuck, man? Why is he trying to summon the wambulance here? He tries to tell his own little sob story here about how it was so hard for him. Wah, wah, wah. I'm the real victim here, actually. It was tough for me, too. I highly fucking doubt he's done any therapy or any rehab or anything, because he has decades worth of allegations against him for these type of violent, abusive tendencies. And the allegations are backed by mountains of evidence and continue all the way to present day. So I highly doubt at any point in his life he's ever sought professional help for him being a violent maniac.
Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
It's so weird if he's that remorseful about the situation, why he didn't apologize back in 2016, why he tried to bury it to the best of his ability and deny all of the allegations and try and paint all of his accusers in the worst possible light to make it seem like they were untrustworthy and lying about the whole thing. It's so weird how all of a sudden now that the video is out there and it's irrefutable proof of all of these allegations made against him, that all of a sudden now he's got this real heavy burden on his shoulders and it's so disgusting and he's truly sorry for it. He's very apologetic. It's so odd that, like, now he's really apologetic about it, now that he's been caught. Huh. It almost seems really disingenuous to me. But anyway, P. Diddy is one of the most well-documented monsters in the music industry, and it is shocking that he still is not in prison. But with more and more evidence constantly coming to light about this guy, I'm optimistic that eventually justice will be served here. But anyway, just wanted to give you a little update to what's going on with P. Diddy here. The apology video, if I was to put that on the YouTuber apology tier list, that would be a strong F. Fucking terrible. Absolutely atrocious. That's about it. See ya. Today, Will Smith posted a YouTube apology video for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. And when I saw it, I had to scratch my head and wonder why. It happened so long ago. I was confused. Why is he apologizing now? I felt like Robin Williams coming out of Jumanji asking what year it was. And then I remembered that that happened this year. It was 4 months ago that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock's head clean off his shoulders at the Oscars. He turned an award ceremony into a public execution when he blasted Chris Rock to Valhalla, just banishing him to the Shadow Realm with a slap. Mm-hmm. Oh baby, that's right. He starts this with the most generic YouTuber apology intro imaginable. A slow walk into a big sigh right before getting into the actual apology. Textbook. He's clearly been trained by some of the YouTuber apology greats like Logan Paul, Laura Lee, Tati. I mean, this is perfection here. Every box of YouTuber apology cliche gets ticked immediately except for one. He didn't bring his dog into it. A lot of YouTubers like to bring in an animal in order to, you know, deflect some of the criticism with cuteness with the animal. Will Smith, unfortunately, must have forgot that prop this time around, but everything else he nails.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy.
So the main thing he's doing in the apology video here is answering questions that people have asked over the last 4 months. And again, I have to wonder why even bother. It's been 4 months on internet time. That's basically ancient history. Like, that's back there with like Y2K now. Most people have moved on and forgotten about it. So it's a little weird to be this tardy to the party with addressing these things. Now, of course, I understand this was like a career-ruining moment for him, so he wants to do his best to be perceived positively again, both by movie execs as well as the general public. So if he really did feel strongly enough that he wants to apologize, then all power to him. But anyway, the first question that he addresses here is one that I don't think anyone with half a brain ever asked in the first place. Why didn't you apologize to Chris during your acceptance speech? The answer should be pretty obvious if you have eyes. It's because he was still mad. He was still fuming. Of course he wasn't going to apologize for it. Literally 15 minutes before he accepted that award, he had just charged the stage like The Undertaker during WrestleMania going into the ring and clobbered Chris. So of course he's not going to immediately like fold and be like, man, sorry Chris, that was out of line. He was still upset. That's why he didn't apologize. I don't really understand his excuse of I was still, you know, in a fog. It was all still fuzzy. Like in the moment that makes sense, but over the last 4 months, what, you've just been in a perpetual fog? You've been in like the upside down or something? Like, what do you mean? You've had 4 months if you wanted to publicly apologize to Chris and you didn't. And even to be fair here, you still don't. He says I'm sorry to a lot of people, but the one person he doesn't say the words I'm sorry to is Chris.
I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
That almost sounds like a trap, like, hey, I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. And it turns out Will's been training for the last 4 months with slap boxing, so he's been like slapping brick walls until they collapse, so he's ready to really get him with like a double whammy, get him with that encore performance. There's a big difference between saying, I apologize to you, and I'm sorry. I don't think people really understand the value of just saying, I'm sorry. I think it's the most important thing to say during an apology, which he does say later on to other people, but never Chris. To Chris, he just says, I apologize, and the action was unacceptable. Which is, you know, that's good, that's definitely a start, but I really think you needed that cherry on top here of an I'm sorry. This is also just one of those things that should have been handled privately. I'm sure there were plenty of ways in the pipeline to let Chris know that you were genuinely remorseful for what happened, but I understand why he thought this was a good idea. I'm gonna make a video coming forward, publicly apologizing and owning up to my mistakes, letting people see how horrible I feel and what I'm doing to change and be better. The thought process makes sense. You know, let people see a vulnerable side of you and let them know that you made a mistake and you know that. And that, it again, does make sense to anyone who's never been on the internet. I think one thing most people online are starting to understand and wake up to is that when you make an apology video, you lose. It's like what war games taught us. The only winning move is not to play. When you make an apology video, it is a lose-lose situation for you. You're either going to have people that don't believe that you're actually sorry, or they're going to have people that think that you didn't need to apologize in the first place, so now you look stupid. You look like a pussy. Which I'm already seeing with Will Smith's apology. Like, why is he apologizing? He stood up for his wife. Does he not support his wife anymore? Oh my god, I've lost all respect for Will with this apology now. And then on the other side of that coin is, man, Will really needed to apologize, but this apology video was so dog shit, he missed the mark entirely. This is the worst apology video I've ever seen in my life. You just don't win with an apology. So again, this should have just been private.
3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment.
You slapped the shit out of a man. It's not that deep. Talking about it like it's the most complex situation of all time. Like this slap was somehow, you know, like a Cold War or something here. It was a simple act that affected a decent chunk of people. Chris, most notably, I would say, was physically affected by the slap, but Will's career was also hurt by it. Chris's family was probably pretty upset by it. Like, yes, of course, people were affected by it, but it's not like there needs to be like 4 months spent of just digesting this giant web that all spawned from a slap. Because, again, at the end of the day, it's really not that deep.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, you know, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it.
Jada was behind the camera with a teleprompter and a gun, making sure this question was addressed properly. Of course, I'm kidding. You know, Jada just has very odd moments publicly with Will that I think are very tasteless in the things she says to and about Will. And it's the reason why a lot of people felt like she may have contributed to this overreaction from Will. You know, her rolling her eyes and then just having all of that context with the things she has said publicly about and to Will just made people wonder whether or not she was somehow involved in that decision from Will. But he's clearing the air here, saying that it was just him doing it. And you know what? I'll take his word for it. I think this was just an impulsive decision here. I don't think Jada has some kind of device that she can control Will's brain like something out of Dexter's lab. I really think he just completely overreacted and went fucking berserk here for some reason. And I don't think Jada is necessarily guilty of that, but I do think she is guilty of being a very toxic partner. I know that sounds parasocial to say, but the amount of clips and videos of Jada just shitting on Will to his face is baffling. Like the time where she was just talking about cheating right to him and how much she like enjoyed it or whatever during their red table talk. Oh my god, it's so hard to sit through. As Will's like in tears about it and she's just joking. Oh man, it's fucking brutal. And so now Will looks like a cuck. I mean, I'm just not a big Jada fan. I'll say it. I don't think she's that nice.
What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down?
Let me just stop you right there. You don't have to apologize to me. I found this whole thing to be highly entertaining. I thought this was extremely goofy, and no one seriously got injured or anything like that. This was just an absolute fucking wild moment. And honestly, for this section, he should have just said, "You're welcome." You know, to the journalist that wouldn't stop fucking writing about it, like a million articles all going deep into it for no fucking reason, talking about how this is setting a bad precedent and how in the next Oscars, all of a sudden people might be showing up there with battle axes to attack their critics, how journalists are no longer safe, you know, this and that. Like, he honestly should have just said, "You're welcome," for the 2 weeks of just articles and videos about it. Now, of course, there were super fans of Will that were disappointed to see this, and I think it's cute that he said that he was sorry for it and letting them down. He apologized to Chris's family, his family for the negative backlash they've faced. He apologized to pretty much everyone that was directly impacted by it. And now in this section, he's talking about how horrible he feels when he doesn't live up to people's image of him. And I will say he does seem pretty sincere for the most part. But again, it's been 4 months. Most people have moved on. This was pretty unnecessary. Though I'm sure a lot of people that did feel like really disappointed appreciate the gesture.
Disappointing people is my central trauma. I hate when I let people down. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me. Deeply remorseful. And I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself, right? I'm human. And I made a mistake.
But yeah, he finishes it off by saying that he is remorseful and he's, you know, working on being better. And if you stick with him, you can all be friends again. And that's basically where it concludes. Overall, I don't think it's like the worst apology ever, especially in the tier list of YouTuber apologies. I think this one was one of the more sincere ones, at least from everything I've seen from it, unless I've been deceived by his great acting, I couldn't tell you. But this is just one of those situations that is so wild to me. Why do this 4 months later? If he had done this like a day, 2 days, even a week after this happened, I think the reception to it would have been much better than it currently is. Yes, it still has, I think, a pretty positive reception overall from like his actual like dedicated fans. But the general consensus I'm seeing here is, why is he doing this? This seems very fake to do it now. It's way too late. We've all moved on, this and that. So again, you don't really win with an apology video, but if he'd at least made like a statement like this, a big statement like this, right after it happened, I think he would have been in a much better position now than he is currently, if that makes sense. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this since the slap is the gift that just keeps on giving. Somehow, there is still developments with that whole story that keep happening. Anyway, that's about it. See ya. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I know everyone hates YouTube drama, but I'm not one of them. In fact, this has become one of my biggest guilty pleasures, just watching YouTube drama unfold from afar. This is my soap opera. This is my As the World Turns. Fucking As the YouTube Burns. That's what this is. And it's great. It's just this big hubbub over very mundane things on the website, and it's become so popular recently. And I can't help but kind of tune in because it's very fascinating. And one thing I always look forward to in these situations is the inevitable apology video from one of the two sides, because they're usually just absolutely atrocious and very fun to watch. Now, I'm sure anyone watching this is familiar with the CSGO Lotto drama. To sum it up, two big YouTubers, Syndicate and tmartn, own this gambling website for Counter-Strike skins, and they never disclosed that they owned it and manipulated their viewers into using it and all this shit. And today, tmartn made an apology video for it, and it is turbo shitty. So I wanted to just kind of talk about it. So the video starts with tmartn talking to his special guest Airbud, and they're running a promotional for Airbud's new movie, Airbud Gambles on CSGO Skins, and he's saying how difficult it's going to be for him to make this video. So right away, tmartn has made me very uncomfortable and squirming in my chair like my rectum's been tickled by a fucking porcupine, because it's the most cringeworthy attempt at using one of the most popular techniques for public service announcements and emotional campaigns, where you get a cute animal there to get the viewer's guard down, make them feel like you're being real with them, make them feel like they're being genuine, and just kind of elicit sympathy from the viewer. And tmartn's trying to utilize this technique, but he does it atrociously. It's just an absolutely abysmal attempt, and it comes across as so fake and so forced and just sets a horrible tone for the rest of the apology video. Now, I'm not going to play too much of the video because there's nothing to really be gained by listening to this human Ken doll repeat himself. The gist of the apology is, he is sorry that you were too fucking stupid to understand that he was the owner of CSGO Lotto, and he is sorry for not spelling it out for your dumb ass every single day in every single video, reminding you that he owned it. It's your fault. This controversy is nothing that he's done wrong. It is just your fault as a viewer for not knowing that he owns CSGO Lotto, and he makes it very clear that he has done nothing illegal whatsoever. That's basically all this apology video is shifting the blame for this whole controversy on his audience. It's the audience's fault for not understanding or knowing that he was the owner of the website. That's basically this whole thing. So this no-nippled Neanderthal doesn't address any of the actual complaints or issues people had about this situation. He doesn't talk about why he blatantly lied about owning CSGO Lotto. He doesn't talk about why he changed the descriptions of all of his videos to add a disclaimer in the description, and he also doesn't talk about why he pretended to find CSGO Lotto instead of saying he made it or owned it. I'm not going to get too deep into talking about the actual drama because there's nothing I can offer that hasn't already been talked about or discussed. But basically, he just pretended like he found CSGO Lotto when he brought it up as if it was some type of random chance. Oh, you know, I was on Google looking for new $2 million villas to buy that I could use as public shitting arenas where I can invite homeless people in to just shit in all the rooms in the house if they'd like, you know, because I'm a good guy, you know. But while I was looking for this, I happened to come across a diamond in the rough. It's called CSGO Lotto. I'll put the link in the description in case you guys want to check it out. It's kind of cool. It looks really nice. I hear the owner has a massive dick. It's just, it's a cool site, you know. I think it's good. I'm not associated in any way. That's basically what he did. He pretended he didn't know what it was, and he doesn't talk about any of these issues in his apology video. This man doesn't take responsibility for shit. What he needed to do was grit his tiny tic-tac-ass teeth and just say, look, I fucked up, I did this, I did that, I shouldn't have done any of those things, and he would have got a lot more respect out of people, and they wouldn't have seen him as this fucking asshole that I think the majority of people see him as now after this apology video. Because all of this comes across as so fake, and just reading the comments and just looking at how people are reacting, they all see right through it. He is just sorry he got caught, that is all. He doesn't give a fuck about the situation or his audience in general. He just wants people to keep watching him no matter what so he can continue to live in his expensive 2-story mansion with his nice truck in the background and that peculiar modern art painting in the background that looks like Solid Snake inside of a Mr. Meeseek's uterus. I'm not quite sure what the fuck's going on with that, but I'm sure it's about $50,000. Now, I'm sure he knows that it doesn't really matter how he handled this situation. He's going to be fine in 2 months no matter what. In fact, he'll probably be better off in 2 months than he is right now because everyone has heard his name so much recently, they're going to check him out of curiosity. So he's not going to really lose many viewers, and he'll actually probably gain more. He knows that he could have handled this situation any way he wanted. He could have shown his asshole on this apology video, and still everything would be fine. His lifestyle wouldn't be affected, his profession, none of that would be affected, and he knows that, so he doesn't really give too much of a fuck. And another thing that really upset me about this video is the way he ended it. He ended it with him grabbing the camera like he was about to give me a fucking Ghost Rider penance stare. Come on, bro, you gotta do better than that. Edit that shit out. Have you never edited your own video? Do you just have beavers slap their fucking tail on your keyboard and edit your shit? Come on, pussy fart, do better than that. Now, I know everyone talks about, oh, how do you kill a YouTube channel? There's just no way. They're too big to fall. That's bullshit. A YouTube channel can die just like any other website or any other company, anything like that. All it takes is for people to stop watching them. If you really feel passionately enough that you really don't want this guy to be able to continue to manipulate people and do types of shady shit, stop watching him. It's that easy. Don't go on his channel to dislike and insult the guy. It doesn't fucking matter. It just really makes no difference. If you want a YouTube channel to disappear, you stop watching it. That's how it works. That's how it works with a lot of shit in the world. If you just give it attention, it's going to persist. There's no such thing as bad publicity. That's a saying for a reason, because as long as it's being talked about, it's going to continue to exist no matter people's opinions on it. The only way things really do fade into obscurity is you stop supporting them or just acknowledging them. That's a better word for it. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this situation because this is one of the worst apology videos I've seen out of a YouTube drama situation, so I thought it'd be fun to talk about. So yeah, that's it. And I do read a lot of your comments. In fact, one of my favorite comments I've ever read is someone said, "My voice sounds like the world's most unenthusiastic hand job," and that one gave me a real hoot. But the reason I'm saying this is I read your comments and I know a lot of you don't like when I talk about drama or get involved in YouTube drama in any capacity. And I know, I understand, and I don't do it often, but sometimes certain situations affect me and make me want to talk about it or point out how horribly the situation was handled. But that's it. It's not going to be like something I do all of the time or anything like that, so don't worry about that. And yeah, that's it. So yeah. YouTuber apology videos are always highly entertaining, but I've got something especially wacky for you today. It's not an apology. This is a YouTube response video from the head of a crypto company that recently found itself in some hot water after the iShowSpeed stream from earlier this week. For those that don't know, iShowSpeed is a huge YouTuber who did an entire stream earlier this week dedicated to shilling for a very shady crypto company called Paradox Metaverse. Since then, Speed has apologized, called it a big mistake, and wants to move on and learn from the experience. And I'm not here to tell you how to feel about all of that. That's up to you. I'm not Speed's PR manager or anything, and I'm not really here to talk about Speed. I'm here to talk about that company because the head of it made a response to all of this, and he just pooped out the shittiest shit I've ever seen in my life. It is terrible. This grown-ass man sat down to whine and cry about all of the people calling it a scam just being trolls and bots. He blamed the entire thing on like a cyber terrorist attack from bots trying to bring down his company. Or if they weren't bots, they were trolls that were influenced by the bots calling it scam. And then he provides no evidence to prove that it's not a scam, and instead just says, if we were a scam, why are we still here? We wouldn't be here if it was still a scam. If this was a rug pull, why hasn't it been rugged yet? He then issues a Galaxy Brain challenge to everyone to find a part in that stream where he said it was a scam, where he admitted it was a scam. And since you can't find a spot where he said it's all a scam, then it can't be a scam, obviously. Checkmate. I'm not even kidding. This is actually points that he's making in his fucking response video. It is so embarrassing. Where's their response video, though? I don't see that anywhere on here. That'd also be a really bad idea for them to post that publicly.
43 minutes into the video, we had on average 40,000 viewers.
That's just speed.
Comments-wise, we had around 5 to 10,000 comments. We had two huge spikes. The first one being when we introduced fake Ronaldo into the stream. 3 minutes.
What does that have to do with anything? He's going to make the claim that these two spikes... Fuck, where'd they go? He's going to make the claim that these two spikes were when bots came in to say scam. But what he fails to realize is the reason there's these spikes is because more people decided to type scam when they realized how shady, shitty, and dog shit this whole thing was. It's not bots. These clowns have been very vocal about it being bots that were saying scam. Nobody else, everyone else loved it. Like the actual people with a pulse, they loved it. Everyone saying that it was a scam is a bot. They can't wrap their head around, no, people just realized it was a fucking scam.
We had two huge
So that's why
spikes.
he's showing that,
First one,
because he's going to make that
we
claim.
are just as much of a fan of iShowSpeed. No comments suggesting that we are a scam. There was just W's in the chat all the way around. What happened next?
That's just because of Speed. Again, the reason there were W's in the chat is because it was a Speed stream. And everyone spams W's in the chat for Speed. But the more that you went on about Paradox Metaverse, the more obvious it became that this is all just shilling for a dogshit crypto scam. So then people started saying, scam. You started making calls to action for Paradox Metaverse to go follow the Twitter account, playing the game. So it made people more aware of it and then starting to type more for it.
It's caught us all by surprise. This is when the first cyber attack happens.
It's
This
not a
attack
fucking
lasted
cyber
4
attack.
minutes.
Holy shit, this guy's talking like Jack Bauer at CTU.
After the 4-minute attack, all the comments went down, as you can see here. Guys, this is very unusual. It's clear to see that he was botted.
You know what else would cause a spike like this? Let's say Speed went on stream, everything's normal like this, and then he fucking beat a man to death in cold blood. There would be this huge spike then too, and it wouldn't be bots. It would people say, holy shit, what the fuck? Speed? Murder? Like, it'd have a spike then, too. The reason the spike happened is because you had more egregious calls to action, like following the Twitter, so people started putting out that it is a fucking scam and this is shady.
It's clear to see that he was botted.
No, Christ.
What they said. That anybody that was watching that live stream, they started falling for it. They started thinking, okay, somebody knows something we don't. So started pushing out the narrative that this
is
a scam.
so
Some
embarrassing.
people
Even as like a Paradox buyer, like the community for Paradox meta, you have to see this and you have to be having your red flags go off. Like, this has to trigger your own red flags to see that your CEO is so weak and so insecure that he's writing these things off as bots in pure delusion and cope, calling it an attack. Like, in the crypto space, you have to be smarter than that. Like, you would know the bare minimum about how shit works. What he should have done is just say, the speed audience wasn't ready for it, they didn't see the vision, so they all thought it was a scam. And you know what? We missed the mark. Now they all think we're a scam. But we're not. But he's not doing that. Instead, he's placating, he's putting this on some invisible enemy that doesn't exist. It's not bots. Now he just looks really weak to even his own community. He looks so insecure.
actually decided, you know what? This is actually funny. Let's troll the person we look up to the most, that we tune into every single day.
The guilt trip.
Entertains us for free.
A classic.
Doesn't ask for anything in return. Guys, please listen very carefully. It's very important.
Our crypto exchange is worth $40 billion and has sent us a picture saying, why if I should see comment saying scam coin? $40 billion. We spent $10 million on this project and every single person in the comment is saying scam coin because we are getting botted. Please do something. We're going to lose. Listen, Twitter giveaway.
Guys, what you have just heard is the aftermath of being completely botted. Scam.
Ugh.
$10 million of my hard-earned money that I've worked so hard for.
What is that even supposed to prove? You still believing it's bots, refusing to accept the reality of things, that people see through this garbage. Like, this doesn't prove anything on your innocence. It doesn't. All this proves, and if you played it longer, is that you asked Speed to shut it down. You asked if he could disable the chat. So you're taking away the people's voice, which makes you look bad and goes against your fucking stances on things. Like, if you played it further. Like, it doesn't prove anything anyway, even if you take out that part. It is not evidence. It's nothing. It's literally nothing.
Into this project, into this business. And the fact that I'm going to lose it all because everybody is labeling it a scam.
Yeah, well, at least you still have your stupid fucking university. Like, you have plenty of other scams that you can hustle on too, man. Like, you don't need your sob story. 10 million to you is nothing. You made a whole video with money kicks showing off your rented car collection. Like, you have plenty of money. Like, you're got a ton of other ventures that I'm sure you can pull from.
At no point did anyone say we are going to scam anyone. Anyone with half a brain cell can see this with their own eyes.
Yeah, anyone with half a brain cell can see that just by looking at our product real quick and seeing all 7 of our companies that promise things like $500 a day and 10 to 100x returns. Oh, and also the same guy who can't follow through on his bet, where you bet that the Paradox meta will open to at least like 20 or 30, and if it doesn't, you're changing your name to CoffeeZilla. It opened to 9 cents, and you didn't change your name to CoffeeZilla. But here, let's take a peek at the game that you were so proud of. Man, that really does look like something that is the future and has a lot of work put into it, using so many assets, so many fucking standard packages in the what is this, the Unreal Store? I can't remember. Yeah, wow, this really does look like a lot going on here. Something that could absolutely be thrown together in a matter of minutes. And a game that I'm sure we've probably played before on Steam Indie New Release Night when we go through shitty games. They're called asset flips. There's nothing here that screams, whole team, passion project, we're in it for the long haul with this project.
And what was the label? I Show Speed promotes crypto scam.
Yep.
Guys.
He did.
Listen to the audio yourself. Go over it again and again. Mention to us once when we said we are going to scam people.
That's such a non-point. We never said it on that stream, so it can't be true. Prove that we said it's going to be a scam. Do it, pussy. Where did I say it's a scam? Anywhere during that stream.
is the person you want to label a scam, or is it that you just want to associate IShowSpeed with a scam? This is cancel culture at its finest.
Oh, hitting all the buzzwords, all the boo-hoos, the cancel culture. Don't launch a shitty, shady crypto. It's that simple. Your crypto, your Paradox Meta has like 7 components, all of which make no fucking sense and are literally just actual dog shit.
He was not getting done. Everything that was getting done in front of your eyes, no one had an issue with up until we got spammed.
That's actually not true. The smashing, like, you're already wrong. The smashing of the PlayStation 5's gotten a huge influx of L speeds. Chat immediately turned against him with the smashing of the PlayStation 5's. So, I mean, you're just not even right there either. It wasn't just L scam, it was L speed for smashing PlayStation 5's.
There was no evidence, there was no substance. If we was a scam, why would we still be here?
These are such non-points. If we were a scam, we'd be in jail right now. We wouldn't even be allowed here right now if we were a scam.
How is this fair? Here's a video. We're going to play the video. This video is in...
Is it mine?
Crying every single day, in tears every single day. But he still manages to continue with his live stream. Just to please his fans. And you guys took it upon yourselves to think it's funny to just troll people. You guys don't understand the stuff that comes after this trolling. On camera, everyone has to smile. Nobody can show other people their fears. Off camera, could you imagine what he's going through? Because we do. We know exactly what's going on.
You're not his fucking friend. He already threw you to the wolves. Why are you still sucking his dick? Speed, like straight up said, yeah, this was a mistake. Like, he at the very least has moved on and said, yep, that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. And yet here you are like, oh, we are there. We are holding him in our laps as he is crying profusely, uncontrollably, because of what you guys have done to him.
He is not ready for what the world is accusing him of. And he doesn't know how to respond. So I'm taking it upon myself to respond on his behalf.
Oh, this is so sad now. You staked the rug pull on a 17-year-old's audience. It didn't pan out. He has now wiped his ass with your whole company, and you are still here begging for that audience to accept you by pretending like things are, like, close between you two. Yikes, that's embarrassing. Jesus Christ, man, have some shame.
Please stop this hate. It takes very little to just be nice. Rather than just...
Calling out a scam isn't just needless cancel culture hate. That's just not what it is. This is so sad. This is so fucking sad. This is a grown man. This is a very, very wealthy grown man.
You can see, us as founders, we do not even have access to our own tokens.
I literally don't think there's enough numbers that exist to show how many claims have been made exactly like that, only for them to get rugged. Everyone that bought in. That is the #1 claim that every crypto makes. No, founders are fully out there, very transparent. They don't even hold any. And they couldn't even get in there if they wanted to. In fact, we have protocols in place to prevent that from happening. And then bang, rug pull. Every single time. Like clockwork. Literally every single time. Still my favorite to this day, there was a Twitter account called War on Rugs, which was a Twitter account dedicated to showcasing and warning people of rug pulls in the crypto space. And then eventually, they rugged their own community. So they had their own coin as well. And eventually War on Rugs was like, yep, we're taking. So they made off with millions, and they made a post saying, you guys should stop blindly trusting people like this. And still, people buy into shit like that. It's crazy. That is a nothing claim. Everything he has said so far is actually nothing. He's provided no evidence to prove that it's not a scam. He has provided nothing other than trying to guilt people and saying that it's all just bad faith trolling.
We'll make sure we'll see you guys on the moon.
Nice, that's so huge. That was awful, holy fuck. That was a big one. What a masterclass in how to say absolutely nothing. Nah, part 2 might clear up everything. Even burning their founders' tokens they can't even cash out for a whole year. That shows passion and confidence in the project being 10,000, 100,000% legit. Oh, fuck me. I hope that's a bot. I hope that's not a real person. Yikes. Oh, fucking yikes. Comments aren't really on his side either. I really do wonder what the Paradox community thinks of a move like this, but I'm not going into their Discord to find out. Usually it's just a lot of people convincing themselves of absolute nonsense in order to believe that they can make money off of it, and then when it doesn't happen, they just pretend like, oh, they just got fooled by someone who was just too smart, even though the writing was on the wall right in front of their face the entire time. Everything he said is things thousands of scams in the space have said before him. He just copied their playbook. Yeah, so I think the YouTube makeup or beauty community, I'm not sure on the proper nomenclature, is just fucking terrible right now. You can tell just from looking at me that I'm not big into the makeup or beauty world, but I do like to keep my cheeks spread so I can stay updated and filled in on information on YouTube drama, and the makeup and beauty side of all of that never has any shortage of that. Taddy Westbrook released another 40-minute video today, which is supposed to be some kind of pseudo-apology and explanation for why she tried to ruin James Charles's life last year. And it's pretty fucking rough. It's like having a hemorrhoid. It's kind of painful. It's pretty boring. Really, the only purpose this video would serve is if you have insomnia and need help falling asleep. It is unnecessarily long. Like, this whole thing could have been summarized in 1 or 2 tweets if she wanted to. I don't really know why it's 40 minutes long. And it's her reading a legal statement that she's prepared, and it's pretty fucking painful. It's like she's reading the terms and conditions when signing up to Spotify. In fact, I wish it was just 40 minutes of Taddy reading the terms and conditions when signing up to Spotify. It'd be more genuine and engaging. This has every cliche of a YouTuber apology, a lot of fake crying, and a lot of passing the blame and deflecting. She keeps talking about how terrible Shane and Jeffrey were for this whole thing, and that it's really just kind of mainly their fault and she was just an innocent victim of their manipulation. But really the whole video just feels pretty manipulative from her here as well. I'll show you an excerpt, a couple excerpts from it, just so you get an idea of what the entire 40 minutes is like.
I promised my dad I wasn't gonna cry. I've been trying to feel... Can't do this. I've been trying to feel strong enough to do this video because I want to feel strong. I never said that James Charles was a danger to society. My video was not made with any malice.
But you did. That was the whole purpose of your video last year, was painting James Charles as a menace to society and some kind of evil supervillain. You saying you didn't post that video with malice is like me saying 5'6" isn't short for a man. It's just a lie. It's a lie I'm telling myself, and I've convinced myself. I know I'm short, Taddy. You don't need to rub it in. This whole video is just useless. It's been nearly a full year since you soaked up roughly 5 million subscribers off your video lying about James Charles. Why are you coming forward with this now? What the fuck is the point? Handle it privately. It is a matter that should have been handled privately. But for some reason, there's so many huge egos in this beauty and makeup community where they have to feel like everyone loves them and they present themselves as this perfect person, this benevolent ruler of all things beauty related. So she felt compelled to make this video to try and put herself in the best light. Like, hey, look at me taking responsibility for this thing that happened a long time ago. Look at how good of a person I am.
I did not publicly air any of the horrific accusations that were being made behind the scenes. While I was definitely upset that he had accepted a sponsorship from the biggest rival to my brand, Halo Beauty, I did not make my video because of vitamins. I made it as a result of all of the poisonous lies that were fed to me by Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star.
Yeah, this is what I think the actual purpose of this video is, just to deflect blame off of herself and place it onto Shane and Jeffree. I didn't want to make that video about James Charles. I was manipulated into it by Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star. They were the puppet masters, and I was simply the marionette dancing for them. They fed me these poisonous lies, and I had no choice but to make this video lying about James Charles of my own free will, and post it of my own free will. It's just silly. Taddy is nearly 40 years old, and she knows what she's doing. She knew what she was doing with the James Charles situation, and I really think the only reason she's made this video breaking her silence about all of it is because right now Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star are getting absolutely annihilated, just straight fucking blasted for a ton of terrible, awful things they've done in their past, and Taddy wanted to dogpile on top of it to score some subscribers off of the drama and present herself as the good person in the situation. How she was innocent in the James Charles case because she was getting fed lies by these two people who everyone hates right now. But that excuse doesn't really work because the thing you were initially mad about in your first video was the fact James Charles took a different vitamin sponsor than your company or whatever the fuck you sell, vitamin C cream to rub on the rim of your asshole to improve hearing. I don't know what the fuck your businesses do. But you were mad because he didn't go with your business and instead looked elsewhere, so you felt personally attacked, and wasn't that like one of the main points you made? That has nothing to do with any lies Shane and Jeffrey may have fed you. That was entirely your decision to make that like the focal point of the last video on why you were so mad at him. At least I think. It is so hard to even know what the fuck the drama is with Taddy. Watching her 40-minute videos here is like having a mediocre dream where you wake up and can only remember bits and pieces of it. By the time you finish one of these Taddy videos, you forget you even watched the video. It's like you got hit by a Men in Black neuralizer and just forgot the whole thing. It is so fucking boring, and she's terrible at even making her points clear on what she's trying to say or what is even actually going on. It just seems all so vague. And in this video, she doesn't take really any responsibility. She says I'm sorry multiple times, but none of it even feels real because it's sandwiched in between. But remember, Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star are bad, and they made me do these bad things. And her having these fake crying episodes in the apology and saying things like, I'm sorry, Dad, I promised you I wouldn't cry. I promised my dad I wouldn't cry? What the fuck? You called your dad on the phone? Hey, Dad, you remember that time that I tried to ruin the life of a young man? Yeah, well, I'm finally going to apologize for that, kind of, and look, I'm going to do my best not to cry. I'm going to try and be strong, alright? For most people, Taddy, saying I'm sorry isn't a feat of strength and bravery. It's common courtesy as a fucking human being to take responsibility for something. I've never understood the perspective where people pat someone on the back for saying I'm sorry or that they're wrong. I think that should just be human nature. When you are wrong about something, you say, look, I fucked up, and this was wrong. Okay, good. That should be what's expected. You can say, thank you, hey, thanks, I'm glad you took some responsibility. But to make it feel like it's some kind of Herculean task to say, you're sorry, is just such a bad look. The makeup community is just so full of narcissists. Taddy starts this video like, hey, I know you guys haven't seen me in a little while, even though it's only been like a month and a half. Hey, I know you guys have missed me so much because I'm so great. And look, I'm really sorry you haven't seen as much of me as you want to see of me, and you deserve to see more of me. And then she gets into the video. It's just, I just don't get it. I don't understand why people in the makeup and beauty community follow people like this that clearly just don't even care about them and just view them as a number or a sale on their makeup. And even in this fucking apology video, I think she shouts out her own brands at least like 10 or 12 times. I honestly felt like I was just watching a long-winded infomercial or some kind of meta commercial to sell her products or something. It just doesn't sit right with me. If you're gonna apologize for something and you need to mention a brand, just say my company. Why do you have to shout out the fucking brand and what you do and what your mission is? I'm not trying to read the about section on your goddamn vitamin website. Just say, look, this is the company, this is what happened, and I'm sorry. Instead, she goes into this like fucking almost sales pitch like I'm on Shark Tank about to invest in it or something. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it, man. I don't understand. And I don't know why it has to be 40 minutes every time with her. I guess just to milk as much revenue out of it as possible. Couldn't tell you. Have no idea. But I fucking sat through this fucking thing and it felt like a goddamn crime. I honestly feel like wasting someone's time like this, it should be illegal. 40 minutes worth of nothing. Nothing but deflecting blame and insincerely taking responsibility almost in certain areas. I don't know. Makeup community and the beauty community's got some real bad actors in it. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah. If there was a YouTube rewind this year, I imagine the bulk of the content would be apology videos. There have been more apology videos in 2023 than there have been apologies throughout the last 100 years of our species combined. And just like my age, that number only keeps going up. It's crazy just how common of an occurrence this is. And today we're going to look at a pretty rare one. This is the shiny Pokemon of apology videos. This one's not from a YouTuber or an internet content creator. It comes from two celebrities that I know all of you have seen before. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
So what are they saying I'm sorry for? What whoops-a-daisy blunder did they make? And I'm sorry to say this, sports fans, because it's not some kind of silly mistake. It's not like they gave like a hot take on anime and got dogpiled on Twitter for it or anything. What they did is actually pretty deplorable. They, as well as many others, were requested to write letters to a judge in regards to the Danny Masterson rape case. I actually didn't even know this was going on. I only just learned about this. Danny Masterson of That 70s Show fame, a show that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were a part of for a very long time, has just been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. Danny Masterson was arrested in 2020, and this trial has actually had a lot of developments to it that I was just completely unaware of, but it's concluded now for the most part, and he was found guilty for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. And then it came out that Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, and about 50 other people wrote letters to the judge of the sexual assault trial to just say nice things about Danny Masterson. I guess the idea was to try and hype him up as like, look at all these positive experiences we had with Danny Masterson. Inside Danny, there are 2 demons, a rapist and an incredible actor with a bright smile that could light up a room. And it's important that we don't overlook that second one. Let's focus on all these great experiences we had with Danny Masterson that we knew. You know, Mr. Hyde was a bad guy, but Dr. Jekyll, he was great. So, like, I guess the idea here was to try and get the judge to be a little bit more lenient or something, like to try and help Danny's case by just saying nice things about the Danny they knew. So an excerpt from Ashton Kutcher's letter says, Danny takes his job seriously. He is kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone from the grips to the teamsters to the actors to the caterers as equals. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one. A great role model to rapists, maybe. What the fuck is this? This is just an absolutely evil thing to say about somebody like this. What? How delusional can you be? He took his job seriously. He even said good work to one of the caterers. I'd never seen such a saint on the That 70s Show set. To look at a caterer and actually engage in small talk blew my mind. I'd never seen anyone so sweet. He was truly a benevolent angel. A great role model if you just ignore all of the rape stuff. Like, holy shit. What in the world? What in tarnation? And Mila Kunis called him an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure. His genuine concern for those around him and his commitment to leading by example make him an outstanding role model and friend. Yucky. Yucky. An older brother figure, and still, she's echoing the same thing, a great role model. He just got convicted of rape, and it's not like this is a case with like a lot of holes in it and it was like some kind of fishy investigation or something. Like this is a pretty cut and dry case. The only reason it took 3 years is because there is a lot of interesting stuff that may or may not have been going on with Scientology being involved. I don't like to even mention that word because that's a very scary thing to even bring up. Mentioning Scientology is like mentioning Voldemort in the real world. But perhaps there were, you know, a few Tom Riddle diary exchanges that led to some shady shit going on throughout this case, at least from what I've read so far. This isn't something where you would see all of the evidence, see the verdict, and start wiggling your finger like, no justice wasn't served here. Unless, of course, you're part of Danny Masterson's team, who's saying that they got it wrong and they plan to do everything they can to overturn it and all that shit. But, like, as someone who was a friend of him, you should see this and be like, oh, this is fucking revolting. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. I was friends with an absolute monster. And then you would not go up to bat for them. Like, you wouldn't start speaking to the great character of Danny Masterson. It's just incomprehensible to me. I couldn't imagine doing that. If my best friend in the world, someone I grew up with, someone I consider a brother, was just arrested and convicted of rape, I would not be singing his praises. I wouldn't be spreading the gospel about what an amazing guy he is, right? I wouldn't write a letter to the judge, even if I was requested to do so by his family, and say something like, listen, you know, I dislike sexual assault as much as the next guy. That's some bad stuff. Rape, boo, don't like it. But he never raped me. So he's not all bad. And also, we used to butt chug brewskis in the bathtub together at the frat house. Like, this is a good guy, and it's just something to consider maybe when you're looking over this and deciding on sentencing. Like, I would not be trying to say anything positive about the person. So obviously, this made a lot of people upset to see them do that. It's craziness. So I'll finally get to the apology video now, but I feel like we needed all of this in order to understand why they're apologizing, what exactly they're apologizing for.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
But you also support your friend, even after all of the rape evidence was being put on trial. Like this, I'm very curious now how much they knew about him. Like, did they know all of this? Because they don't seem necessarily surprised, and they seemed more than willing to write these glowing letters that seem like fucking 5-star Yelp reviews of this guy. Like, even with all of this evidence of the sexual abuse, they're still calling him an outstanding role model, an older brother figure. Like, holy shit. I understand they've been friends for 2 decades, so I guess when Danny Masterson's family reached out to request that they write a letter, you know, gushing grannies over how cool Danny Masterson is, they should have said no. They should have just hard rejected that on the spot. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, I haven't passed the bar, but I don't think this is some kind of obligation they had to fulfill here because there were other people that didn't write letters about Danny Masterson. But let's assume they were forced to. You can still say, I was one of Danny Masterson's best friends. I didn't know this side of him. I didn't know he was an evil person, so I don't feel comfortable saying anything nice about my experience with him. Full stop. Like, that could just be the end of it.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
How rotted and corrupt is the brain of a Hollywood drone? Like a Hollywood fucking clout zombie. I can't even begin to try and process how their noodles work. How can you just say that so nonchalant like it's not a big deal and not just fucking diabolical? They knowingly wrote these character letters to give the judge a full understanding of the situation to consider when giving his sentencing to Danny Masterson. So they knew that this was going to be used to try and get lighter sentencing for a man who committed heinous crimes. How do you sleep at night like that? Like after doing that? I don't get it. Like, a lot of people wrote letters, of course, it's not just these two, but these two are the most public figures about it. But I imagine they called anyone that ever even crossed Danny Masterson's path, like, hey, it's me, Tim Clifford. I was Danny Masterson's 3rd grade math buddy. We played together on the kickball squad, and he was a superstar. One of the finest kickball players the East Coast had ever seen. Thanks for reading. And the judge would be there, scratching his chin. I didn't consider that he might have been very good at kickball. Maybe we shouldn't be so harsh on him. Like, I understand it's not just these two. Like, everyone wrote these letters, and I guess they all understood that it was supposed to help Danny Masterson maybe get a lighter sentence. I just don't know how you can do that. Like, in good conscience, it makes no sense to me. You shouldn't want a convicted rapist to get a lighter sentence for the crimes.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read. And not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that.
Hey guys, we were just being super evil behind closed doors, and it's a real shame you guys had to see this side of us. We were hoping you weren't going to notice. This was really meant for the judge's eyes only. We don't want to re-traumatize victims. We just want to make sure the person that victimized them gets the lightest sentence possible for the crimes. And I like how they immediately go into an argument no one's making, like, our letters weren't meant to undermine the legitimacy of the claims. I don't think anyone's claiming they were. Your letters are there to serve as a way of trying to help your friend get a less long, less severe sentence for some absolutely evil shit they did. Which is very bad. It's still horrible.
And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
Man, unfortunately, they didn't even do the apology video classic cliche of saying thank you before signing off. You didn't even thank us for watching the apology video? Are you serious? Do you have no manners at all? But yeah, you care so much about the victims of these horrible things, and yet for some reason, a person who was actively engaging in these crimes, you decided to write really nice things about to try and help them. That's really weird. It's hard to believe you now, after all of this. It's just a fucked up situation. Danny Masterson is getting justice, which is the most important thing. But how the fuck could so many people around him willingly just write nice letters about him to try and actively help him in this case? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. It just wouldn't feel right if 2023 didn't conclude with at least one more horrible YouTuber apology video, and luckily, Krampus did not let us down, delivering a nice lump of coal under the tree. This had been a year filled to the brim, the cup runneth over, on bad YouTuber apology videos. I was a naive fool to think that we had seen the last of apology videos for 2023, and how wrong was I? In the fourth quarter here, the last week or so of 2023, we were blessed with one more from James Somerton. He was featured prominently in H-Bomber Guy's newest video on plagiarism. I'm sure all of you have seen this video by now. If you haven't, that is shocking to hear and should probably go check it out. And I'm not going to recap the whole video, but I will give you a brief synopsis of James Somerton's role in it. But basically, James Somerton was pretty much caught with his hand in the cookie jar, plagiarizing his entire online content fundamentally. It also goes even deeper than the plagiarism. He was accused of multiple other bad things in regards to his content and claims he was making and a bunch of other variety of things. And in response to that, James went dark. He went off the grid, bought a log cabin in the middle of the woods, grew out a lumberjack's beard. He bought a Hoover from, Breaking Bad, and he disappeared. So he went offline, and then a couple days ago posted a surprise apology video going over all of it, which he deleted a couple hours later when it didn't get the response he was expecting it to. But it's been re-uploaded, and I kind of wanted to cover it a little bit just because it feels right. 2023 had so many of these. We've got to usher in 2024 the right way with an apology video to kick us off getting into the new year. So let's take a peek.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry for taking so long to make this video or to say anything. I'm in the hospital. I've been in the hospital for a little over a week.
Call me John Madden because I'm going to walk you through the play in this playbook here. It's called Emotional Manipulation. It's a timeless classic. There is no reason he should be starting this video with this story here. He uses this technique multiple times throughout the video and doesn't really even address the accusations head on. It's mainly a lot of deflection. But what I want to focus on is just how hard he leans on trying to garner sympathy through this. Now, it's always sad to see someone struggling and going through a hard time and contemplating extremely terrible things with their life. But it's not something that you need to be sharing online in this capacity. And it's also not something most people would be comfortable sharing online, especially in response to things like this, because it comes across as very insincere and disingenuous and kind of like using it as though it makes you immune to criticism because now you've gone through this, if that makes sense. And that's pretty much what his whole audience said too. Even the ones that were trying to rally behind him, hoping for a real explanation, this left a very bad taste in their mouth because it's completely unrelated to what should be being talked about, which is his plagiarism as well as the other things he's been accused of. He doesn't need to be sharing this information with us. This is a very private matter that he should have kept private.
I tried to do something really stupid. I'm really only here now because before I did it, I called my dad to talk to him one more time, and he figured out something was wrong and called paramedics or 911 or...
Once again, there is no reason to be telling this extremely personal story to your audience when this is supposed to be a video addressing all of the accusations against your content. It's just the only reason this is here is so that way people can sympathize with him and feel sorry for what he's been going through. And make no mistake, from what he describes here, it's an extremely horrible experience that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. But it has no place in this video. It just comes across as super fucking tone deaf here. Just talk about, if you want to make an apology video or explain your side of things, then do that. And don't go into the private side of what's been happening behind the scenes since the accusations came out.
They got here, and I woke up in the hospital, and yeah, anyway, I'm not trying to make this a sob story. I'm just trying to explain why I've been so quiet.
You spent the entire first minute and a half making it a sob story, though. That's not an accident, and you could have edited that out. It's here because you wanted it to be here, to start with immediately trying to get the waterworks going with people crying over how awful this experience is before you get into what's supposed to be your side and your apology over everything. It's just textbook emotional manipulation trying to make everyone feel bad for you, even though you were the guilty party who got caught, and this is you trying to talk about that, and you still haven't yet, even though we're already kind of deep into the video. Now, it is a 34-minute video, so a minute and a half isn't like the bulk of it, but he sprinkles this throughout the entire thing, so you can't really make a good argument that it's only here to try and explain why he took so long to make this video. You don't need to explain why you took so long. You really don't. If you really wanted to give an explanation, you could just make it super concise, like, hey, had stuff going on. Or this has been an extremely stressful period of time in my life from all of this, so I've taken some time to process everything, and now I feel comfortable going forward. Like, you didn't need to dive into it like this, and you didn't even need to explain why it took you that long in the first place. And on top of that, he does also still go over these really sad things in his life throughout the whole thing that aren't just there to explain why it took him so long to talk about all of this. So it really does feel like he's trying to emotionally manipulate people with his apology video. But even when he is done going through this story and actually trying to talk about what's been going on, he takes really no responsibility. He does say, "I'm sorry," a lot, but it feels kind of hollow when he starts throwing somebody else under the bus for things and then kind of belittling the whole situation itself, boiling it down to something far simpler than it is. Like, there were a lot of accusations against him, none of which he really defends himself on in any meaningful way whatsoever. It really feels like the main purpose of the video is to make the audience feel bad. Like, make them, like, blame them, basically, for what he's going through, as opposed to taking that responsibility for fucking up with plagiarizing his whole career.
Really, really sorry. Really, really sorry. For the stuff in the videos, not crediting people, and I lost my best friend because of this. Nick and I had been best friends since...
I don't think I really need to show you more of the video itself. You get the idea of exactly how this goes for the rest of the 30 minutes of it. It's just a really baffling decision to post this in the first place, and it's something he recognized pretty quickly when he saw the responses coming in, the Yelp reviews. So here's his community post addressing it. Earlier tonight, I uploaded a video apologizing for what I've done, but it's become clear after hearing from several people that I am not in a healthy frame of mind to be posting anything online. I only returned home from the hospital yesterday, so I should have never filmed it. I've deleted the video, but I'm sure it has been downloaded and will be shared by others online. I promise to apologize properly and in detail when I'm more mentally stable. Until then, please know that I am sorry. He understands that this wasn't a good idea, but insists that he is sorry and will return at a later date to make a better apology video. And I have to say, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Like, I don't understand why he's even going to bother trying. There is really nothing that's going to improve for his online career through an apology. His audience isn't going to stick around through it. They were there for his content, and his content was stolen. It was all plagiarized. Like, there's no reason for them to stay, and it's not something he can just move on for and keep pumping out bangers, because no one's going to believe that it's original work or anything that he himself created. So there's nothing he can possibly gain from even making an apology. He should just do something else that's not being a YouTuber, or find a completely different niche on YouTube to try and make it big in. Like, there's just nothing he can really do for the James Somerton brand here. So I don't know why he's going to try and make another apology video later. It just seems kind of silly to even bother. He doesn't have anything that proves him innocent from the claims. He really was kind of, caught pants around the ankle here. It's kind of kaput. Like, it is clear he plagiarized a lot of things, and there's a lot of other accusations on top of that as well from the way he conducted himself and some of the content, like in some of the things he said. And there's really not a whole lot he can do to come back from that and make this big triumphant comeback with an absolute fucking banger apology. That's just not going to happen. So why even do it? Just go do something else, man. Just move on from it. So yeah, I just wanted to cover this a little bit just because it's one more bad apology in 2023. I figured might as well complete the year the only way we know how, with bad YouTuber apologies. Yeehaw. That's about it. So yeah. When you think of an apology video, you probably picture some stinky, goofy YouTuber petting their dog and fake crying, just trying to appear remorseful, and it's always just embarrassing, looking like some shit out of South Park where they're like tweaking on their nipples and saying, "I'm sorry." Because for a long time, YouTubers have had a monopoly on shitty apology videos. Until today. Travis Scott, the famous rapper most known for his McDonald's meal, the Travis Scott Burger, has proven himself to be an innovator not only in avoidable concert-related deaths, but also in shitty apology videos. He posted his own bad apology video on Instagram today, and I thought it's only fair that we look at it. Now, I'm sure you already know, but Travis Scott was addressing the tragedy that happened at his concert Astroworld the night before, where 8 people died and 300 others were injured. This was due to a lot of factors, but the main one being crowd crush. Crowd crush is when a huge crowd of people occupies a small space and everyone gets too close together and inadvertently starts pushing on each other, which suffocates people in the middle. They die from asphyxiation. Crowd crush is an agonizing and horrible death, which unfortunately 8 people suffered yesterday at his concert. I made a video going over this, and since then there's been a few people that went to my Twitch streams just to say Travis Scott did nothing wrong and bears no responsibility and called me a cuck. And I swear to God, if I have to read one of those brainlet takes one more time, I'm gonna go sicko mode. I will say again, while Travis Scott wasn't responsible for the conditions that caused the horrible crowd management and the crowd crushing, he had ample opportunity to pause the concert or stop the show altogether. People were saying Travis Scott didn't know what was going on, so had no reason to stop the concert. So I guess they just think Travis Scott is the dumbest man on the planet who performs with his eyes closed. I don't know. Because if you just look at the pictures taken from the stage or some of the video from the stage, you can literally just see an ambulance going across the crowd, because there's ambulances at all times throughout the concert because people were dropping over unconscious, literally dropping like flies. You were statistically more likely to die at the Travis Scott concert than you were shark attack, lightning strike, fucking driving in a destruction derby. Like, it was a lot of people falling unconscious and an ambulance pretty much at all times in the crowd. And the crowd, of course, dancing on top of the ambulance, all of which was visible from the stage. And also the crowd was begging the organizers as well as screaming at Travis to stop the concert. But even still, let's assume all of that. Travis didn't see the ambulance. He didn't see or hear anyone begging him to stop the concert. There is a clip that I mentioned in my video where Travis Scott literally tells security to get one of the unconscious bodies out of there. He noticed that one of the guys was fallen unconscious or something. He asked security to get him out. Security is crowd surfing the guy's body out of the venue as Travis Scott is watching and singing at the body, literally giving it a walk-off song. Travis Scott knew people were falling unconscious, as evident from that one clip alone, and he still chose not to pause, take a break, or stop the concert. He bears a lot of responsibility, and Travis Scott has stopped concerts before for much less. There's a very popular clip that's now floating around where Travis Scott crowd surfed and got his shoes taken, and he stopped the concert on the spot to spit on the guy that took his shoes and tell the crowd to beat his ass. So Travis Scott has stopped concerts for his shoes, but doesn't stop it for the loss of life. So he values shoes more than people's lives, I guess, more than his fans' lives. That's the impression I get. Travis Scott bears responsibility, accept it, stop defending him, stop huffing that copium. Now with that being said, let's check out his apology video.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience.
Man, you can tell this clip is serious because he put the black and white filter on it. Fuck. You can tell it's really getting to him. This whole apology video looks like he was just woken up out of a deep slumber and forced to make this by like his lawyer or something. Like, hey, get the fuck out of bed. We need you to make an apology video. And he's like still sleepy. He's like, oh, fuck, okay. Hey, guys, sorry. And then he's like rubbing his face really hard, hoping to get 1 or 2 tears to come out, but they just won't fall. He can't get the tears flowing. It seems more like he's annoyed than sad. Like, this is how I react when my dog takes a shit on the carpet. It's like, ugh, fuck, it's on the carpet, which means I'm going to need to use, like, nature's miracle or something to get it off, and it's going to be a big mess. Oh, Jesus.
Anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need,
Yeah, but you didn't. You did identify someone who was unconscious. You identified someone's lifeless body and told security to get out of there. And then you started singing to the body and then continued on the show. Like, you immediately just went into a song. So, I mean, you did identify it. And, I mean, I guess you got them the help they needed, getting them crowd surfed out of there. But you didn't stop the show. Even after finding that, you still continued.
I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, everyone to, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities.
Yeah, every single person involved in Astro World here needs to be held accountable. The second people started breaking through security checkpoints and climbing fences to flood the venue, they should have taken precautions to pause the concert, delay it, or something, because they were not equipped to handle that capacity, and this is the natural result of that. It's a true fucking tragedy, and everybody, Travis Scott included, needs to be held accountable for what happened here. Now, I did read reports that there was someone who injected a security guard with a needle, which caused the security guard to pass out. I don't know if there was some kind of, like, fucking supervillain there injecting people with something, but even if that was the case and not everything was related to crowd crush, there was still plenty of people recognizing all of these unconscious bodies and should have stopped the concert. If anything, that would be more reason to stop the concert, and they still chose not to, which is an even higher level of negligence.
Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
As is standard practice for apology videos, there isn't an apology. There's no I'm sorry. It's crazy. Every single fucking apology video ever, for some reason, lacks the most basic apology. A simple I'm sorry. Nothing. None of that present here. And I just wanted to go over it. It's not like a very informative video or anything like interesting, but it just shows how disconnected celebrities are, that this seemed like a good idea to him. At no point do I get the impression he truly cares about what happened. It seems more like he's worried about potential lawsuits that he's going to face. And not potential, the inevitable lawsuits that he and his team will face. It seems like something that he was forced to make, as is pretty clear by how uninterested he looks in the video. And it's so baffling. Why even bother at this point? He made a Twitter statement. Why did he even bother making this when he clearly doesn't seem to care that much? He doesn't even take responsibility at all. So, I mean, I just wanted to at least show this since he did post this apology video on Instagram. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.